Hello, and welcome to another episode of AI in the Classroom Daily, a podcast helping educators make sense of AI without the hype. I'm Dan Cogan-Drew, and transparently speaking, I use AI as a thinking partner in preparing each of these episodes because I think the best way to talk honestly about AI in education is to work with it openly. So I want to start today's episode with a number, 31%. That's the share of Gen Z respondents, people ages 14 to 29, who told Gallup this year that AI makes them angry. That's up 9 percentage points from last year. And in the same survey, excitement about AI dropped 14 points. Hope for AI dropped 9. That comes from the Gallup survey of 1,572 people across 50 states and Washington, D.C., conducted in late February and early March of this year. It was reported by Joe Napolitano at the 74. Quick note that the survey was commissioned by the Walton Family Foundation and GSV, both organizations with significant ed tech investment interests. I wouldn't say it invalidates the data, but it's worth knowing where it came from. So here's the part that I want us to sit with before we go any further. The students didn't stop using AI according to this survey. Their usage held roughly steady year over year. They're still in it, they're still using it. They just feel worse about it. And not because they're on the outside looking in. Among the heaviest users, the ones engaging with AI every day, Gallup found the same pattern: less excitement, less hope, more anger. So what's driving this? The survey's senior researcher, Zach Ranowski at Gallup, has a working theory. He points to older Gen Z, college students and recent graduates, watching AI shape the industries they trained for. He also draws a direct line to social media. A lot of the young people in the survey came of age just as the former Surgeon General was calling for warning labels on social platforms. They watch the story unfold, and they're matching the pattern against their experience. I think educators should take that pattern matching seriously. The generation is not being naive about technology. They're being, in many ways, appropriately skeptical based on lived experience. And here's where it connects directly to what we've been talking about in this podcast. And the episodes recently on cognitive surrender, drawing on Ezra Klein's essay and the research out of Wharton by Shaw and Nave, we talked about what happens when people stop deliberating and just adopt the AI's output as their own. And one of the clearest findings in that research was that participants who showed the greatest cognitive surrender were those with highest trust in AI. If you hold that up against the Gallup survey and its finding, you can see that Gen Z's trust in AI is declining, and the survey data shows that students are specifically worried about AI's impact on their cognitive abilities, their ability to think, come up with new ideas, find accurate information independently. Only 31% believed AI would help them generate new ideas, which is down from 42% last year. Students may not have the same vocabulary and use words like cognitive surrender, but they're describing effectively the same thing that the researchers found in the lab. And there's one more dimension to this. Despite all of the skepticism, 52% of respondents acknowledge that they'll need to know how to use AI in college or the workplace. They're not asking for a ban. They're not asking to pretend AI doesn't exist or not use it. What the survey makes clear is that Gen Z wants help. They need help navigating AI, and that's different than being sold on it. So that's the gap, and I think the gap between what students are asking for and what a lot of schools are currently offering is where the educators of today need to focus. So here are 3 takeaways for teachers, for instructional coaches, and for district leaders. For teachers, student skepticism about AI really needs to be acknowledged. It's pedagogically useful. If your students are doubtful that AI is helping them think or come up with original ideas, surface that in the classroom, make that a topic of conversation. Consider making students' attitudes toward AI part of the lesson. It's not separately a unit on digital citizenship. It has to be a real ongoing conversation, the same way you would talk about evaluating a source, what it means to understand something. Their attitudes towards AI are an ongoing through line in conversations about teaching and learning. For instructional coaches, when you're reviewing AI integrated lessons, ask yourself if the task gives students a reason to trust their own thinking over the output. We've talked about the uncritical use of AI, and the antidote to this is not so much a warning about its limitations. It's where we can actually require student judgment, where there's something at stake in their own thinking so that they're motivated and have the incentive to bring their own thinking to the table. Right now, given what students are telling us about how AI makes them feel, meeting them where they are may not be an asset. It may be more of a headwind. And the third, for district leaders, if you've been leading your AI messaging with enthusiasm and efficiency, think about the results that we're talking about from this survey and think about what the messaging needs to be towards students and families. Students now in your district, they would be in the ages of 14 to 18 on the lower end of this survey, are asking to be helped with how to use AI productively, even though they have these enormous concerns about them. How you communicate your orientation towards those students, a population that's skeptical but still using AI every day, is an important consideration, especially as you're talking both to the students and to their families. And this is something your teachers are ideally positioned to help you communicate. We've now heard what researchers say about how AI affects thinking, and we've heard directly from students how AI is making them feel. All of this is adding up to a picture of the whole right now that I think is quite unnerving and brings a feeling of great instability in the teaching and learning environment. The attitudes and the behaviors and the habits of use of AI are fast evolving, changing year over year, changing month over month. We're going to keep a close eye on both the attitudes, the habits, the language, the communication, and the research in upcoming episodes. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.